Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, November 17th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing. And then this candlestick right there will still be changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using a 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these, as I mentioned earlier, candlesticks are each worth and represent 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, INM. Beautiful pattern here, and this is a pattern that you got to think a lot of other people have taken notice of. And I say that because when a lot of other people are watching the same things, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So let's get this pattern here drawn up. First part of the pattern that you got to think a lot of people have drawn is that resistance trend line right there. And then the secondary part of this pattern is this former breakout point, which you would now expect to act as potentially an area of support down there at 365. And let me change that to green to represent more so the support dynamic. And then maybe to make this all a little bit easier to see, let's make it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have our big movement right there. And if I put a golf hole down there to make it maybe a little bit more visual for you golfers out there, we have ourselves a nice bull pennant pattern. So just to reiterate, there are no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price can come back up to the top of the part of the pattern and then break up through that level, that break could create additional buying pressure? That's certainly a plausible outcome. Next one here, FSRD. And like what we just talked about with INM, have ourselves another, what I would say, well-defined pattern. So you got to think that a lot of people are watching these levels right here. Although there's a little bit of a difference and a warning that I want to throw out there, but let me first just get the pattern drawn into play here. So yes, I am change it to green, but drawing another bull pennant pattern. But there is a but. So just to make it visual real quick, resistance, support, nice surge up, golf hole down here, another bull pennant. Now the one big difference here, and no guarantees, but even if that level is broken, you got to keep an eye on that pink line up there, the very well-known 200 period moving average, right now valued up around that 25-cent mark. Like I've said, no guarantee. So it's not like the price is going to get rejected by that area. I'm just saying I wouldn't exactly call a break of this trend line right here a clean breakout. Why is it not clean? Well, because not that far away, you then have that 200 period moving average. So I'm not saying to avoid it. I'm just saying don't get too excited if there's a breakout because there is still another big hurdle that needs to be crossed. But all in all, from just a pattern standpoint, it's definitely one that sticks out like a sore thumb. Next, CEI, and this one's coming back to life again, although a bit sketchy on the day because there was a relatively big pullback. So a couple different ways to look at this, and from our eyes sit from a presentation standpoint, tricky to talk about because it does depend on perspective. But if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, maybe you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad. Now, if you do care about the big picture point of view, I do understand that there was a relatively big pullback here. But when you stop and think about the fact the price is still above that purple line there, the 50 period moving average, which does imply that the price is still trending upwards because that moving average does have an upward slope to it. And with the price above it, that does illustrate, and another way you can look at it is just, it is putting in higher lows. You look at that low, you look at that low, you look at that low. If you envision those as stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction. Again, to clarify, I 100% understand that if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. So that's why I'm trying to make a distinction between somebody that was just day trading it and somebody that cares about a bigger picture perspective. So yes, today, rough day because of that big pullback, but looking at more than a day, looking at multiple days, there is still an uptrend in play. Next one, NIO, and you want to talk about self-fulfilling prophecy points. Wow, do we have one here? And you probably know right where I'm going to head, but look at how the price has been behaving in regards to that 200 period moving average, that pink line, and how well it's respected it as support. So you better believe that everybody and their brother's uncle is going to be watching that level and wondering what's going to happen. There's going to be bears out there, those people looking to play shorts and puts that are saying, and rightfully so, I can see their understanding, well, if the price comes down there and breaks through that line, I think that's going to open up more downside momentum. Again, they're not wrong at all. But there's also going to be people saying, well, what are you talking about? It's bounced off that level every time. So there could be some people saying, well, I want to try to play a bounce off there. Again, I totally see where they're coming from. But that's why risk management matters, because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, and you got to manage that risk. But that doesn't take away from the fact that definitely $10.47, the value of that 200 period moving average is going to be very, very crucial moving forward. And then as far as resistances, this just comes based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they do tend to act as resistance. So if the price does bounce, then right up there at 1085 will be that main area of resistance. Next one here, AMC, and I should be through this one relatively quickly because not a whole lot of updates from the levels that I've made, but in case this is the first video you've watched, been talking about this sideways channel, red line top of the channel, green line bottom of the channel, and the value of that red line resistance, 820, bottom of this green line support down there at 725, and you can see that 725 did indeed hold strong. But taking a step back and looking at just the past, several days, nothing's really happened in the form of, well, the price just continues to chop around back and forth within the channel. So not a whole lot else to be said other than, yeah, the channel is there. It's still being respected. So we'll have to continue to see how it all plays out. Real quickly, I want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen, you want to learn more and how this is such a powerful tool and can help build consistency, then get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So go get signed up and you can come back to this video and watch the rest. But yeah, I'd love to have you attend the class. Next, MULN, and once again, the price is doing battle down at the bottom part of this channel, which I've been talking about quite a bit, and it gets interesting because the price is hanging around this area. So yes, technically speaking, let me zoom in. The price is down below that green line, but support resistance levels are not exact pinpoint levels. There is a bit of a range element associated with it, and I would still consider the price within this range of support. But there does become a question, okay, fine, Clay, fair enough, but at what point would you consider that this level has officially been broken? And in that, right here at the 26 cent mark. If 26 cents, so let me change that, kind of change up the style. So if the price breaks through that, hyphen green line there, at that point, yeah, the channel is officially broken to the downside. But I'm willing to, like I said, give it a little bit of wiggle room because there is that element. But 26 cents, in other words, is certainly the muscle level. Because if you think about it, if 26 cents fails, then that essentially has now put the price right back to those lows, meaning all this nice bounce here has been completely eliminated. Not exactly a sign of true power. If there is any sort of bounce in the upwards direction, then yeah, you have the top of the channel up to around 33 cents. But really, in my mind, the most interesting dynamic moving forward and the most important dynamic is the price going to be able to maintain above this area or around this area? We'll see what happens. Next one here, AMZN, Amazon. I'm sure you've heard of them and have yourselves an interesting situation here because, and I say I'm sure you've heard of them because you know that a lot of people are watching this. This is definitely a pretty popular stock out there. So you got to think that from a support standpoint, a lot of people are going to be watching 95.50. I mean, check it out. Price came down here, found some nice support, and then this morning found some nice support again. So you're going to have shorts watching that level for a potential breakdown. You're going to have longs watching that level for a potential bounce, as I mentioned earlier. Neither person is wrong. I can see the rationale for both people, but there are no guarantees, and that's why risk management matters because somebody will be right, somebody will be wrong if 95.50 comes into play. So definitely keep an eye on that as a main area of support. In terms of levels of resistance, main level in the near term going to be all about that purple line there, the 50 period moving average. Right now, let's just call it valued at $99. But overall, relatively rough day, but interesting dynamic here as the price tries to recover back upwards. So we'll see if the bulls can recapture some momentum. Next, TSLA Tesla. Man, track this one every day because I trade it almost every day. And the levels here that I mapped out are certainly coming to play. I'm going to actually get rid of those resistance levels as they're really no longer relevant. But for those of you that watch past videos, hopefully you remember me putting that trend line and saying, if the price breaks down through there, things are going to get a little bit shaky. And I mentioned 185, and sure, I can't say that it hit it exactly because no, the price did not hit 185, but it got relatively close with the breakdown. And point here being moving forward is 185, no doubt about it, is certainly within striking distance. Once more, that does not mean that it will be tested, but it's not exactly, I don't think anybody would be shocked if it was because it's just not that far away at this point. So 185 going to be a very, very important level. I'll go ahead and get rid of that trend line that it served its purpose for now. So 185 main area of support, and then like Amazon that we just looked at, main level of resistance going to be that 50 period moving average. You can see actually acted as resistance this morning, and that's valued up there at 192.50. But in my opinion, the most interesting dynamic is what's going to happen with this 185 mark. Looks like it'll probably be tested, but if it does, will it hold? We'll see what happens. Next, CCL, and what had been a very, very nice, slow, methodical grind back upwards really took a pretty big beating today. Is it completely game over? I would not say that. Why wouldn't I say that after such a big move down? Well, to be fair, the price is still above that pink line, that 200 period moving average. So from a very, very broad standpoint, there is a chance that this thing still maybe builds some sort of longer overall uptrend. So I'll zoom out to illustrate that. And you can see that even if the price can't hold above that level, then big picture wise, you still do have, if you look at where these lows have been, you would still have lows getting higher and higher. Now, again, if you were a day trader and you bought up there, then yes, you don't care about these lows. But like I said, it all is a matter of perspective. But yeah, today in and of itself, very, very rough day. But as you just saw, if the price can stay above that pink line there, then big picture wise, the trend would still technically be in the upwards direction. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, main level to keep an eye on is going to be that resistance trend line right there, which pushes the breakout point right around $9.70. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, is the price going to be able to maintain above that 200 period moving average? Let's see what happens. Next one, TQQQ, which is a very popular ETF, the most popular ETF, at least based on volume, and it's a way to get involved with the NASDAQ. So if you think that the NASDAQ market is going to rise, then you could buy this because this will also rise. The difference being this is just at a much lower price point. And not a whole lot of updates. I'm going to do a minor adjustment, but the first little thing here, I'm just going to extend this line out. This trend line that I talked about previously was not tested today, but I will note that before you really put too much emphasis on the trend line, the price first needs to prove that it can even get back above that purple line, which you can see today struggled a couple of times to get back up above it. So keep a close eye on that. And then the one adjustment I made is I'm going to go ahead and move this down slightly because now that we have more data, it seems as though the most accurate level of support right there at $21.80. You can see right there, 21.80, held strong, held strong this morning, and then once again held strong late afternoon here. So that'll definitely be a key level. But it's also one of those areas where if 21.80 fails, especially if it's a high volume breakdown, then you got to think that at least minimum the price going down to that 200 period moving average seems reasonable. That currently valued at $20.27, but we'll see what happens with it. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then I want you to get signed up for the class. It'll be, like I said, very soon, Thursday, November 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow, or just say hi. But those things help out quite a bit. And as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to do these videos. So thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one, and go get signed up for the free training.